Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our latest episode of the Growth Playbook with myself, host Kim Clark, and my dad, Alan Beaulieu. We're taking a quick break from our Planning for 2026 with Confidence series and shifting our attention to the job market. So, the most recent job numbers and AI's impact on employment. So, I'm looking forward to hearing, Dad, all the great insights that you have planned to share with me and the audience today.
Thanks, Kim. I appreciate that. And I was thinking that quick break is what we talked about, but this can be really part of the longer term planning. So we were doing 2026 planning, but our discussion today is kind of just it is taking a break, but thinking, all right, let's look a little longer and see where we need to be going and what kind of business am I in? And how can I take advantage of the knowledge we're going to share today? And I hope we're able to do that because, as always, we want to help companies prepare for the future and have a better future if we possibly can. Um, let's talk first about what's in the news. And what's in the news is gold gone to $4,000, and people are wailing and gnashing teeth, including me, because I don't own it. It's a small case full of it would have been a wonderful thing. Um, and there's been so much talk about open AI, which is about to become the largest, IP ever, public offering IPO ever. And we find that there's Microsoft, Oracle, Nvidia, they're all making the news talking about $100 billion investment here, $30 billion investment there. And when you add it all up, it comes to about a $300 billion investment in each other. So, for instance, there's an investment that's coming where one of them says, "All right, I'm going to invest $100 billion in you, and because I need your chips for AI." Now, the chip maker doesn't have the capacity yet to do that, so it sounds like really good. I got this order for $100 billion, so I better build this new facility. Well, the reality is the person who placed the order doesn't have the money either. They're just going off for future projections. So this whole thing is kind of phantom at the moment. It's not like there's $100 billion in the bank. They need to raise a whole bunch more money. And the thought is they'll raise a whole bunch more money, each of them, because each of them needs the four people involved or that are part of this circle need to raise a whole lot of money. Hundreds of billions of dollars is still a lot of money, even though we talk in trillions a lot. Um, that may mean there's going to out sources is a better way to put it because right now it's the stockholders and other financing sources that are not more standard, but external financing sources that come into play. If all of a sudden those loans go bad, uh, think 2007 and 8, all of a sudden, it all starts going bad. It's really painful and to investors because the S&P 500, I'm blathering on, but the S&P 500 has been doing really well. It's been primarily because of 10 stocks. So if those 10 stocks stop doing well and starts to go down, all of a sudden everyone's about 62% of the population has money, 401k money, retirement money, some sort of investment in stocks and in the market, whether it's NASDAQ, S&P, or whatever. So all of a sudden, if the markets start reacting negatively to this phantomness, then they're feeling like, oh my gosh, my future, my retirement, my today has gone down. So there's a negative impact on the economy. So it's worth talking about and looking into for just a minute. What's behind all of this? And what's behind all of this is it's fascinating to me anyway, is that there's this capability to produce open AI, and you and I like AI. Kim, how many businesses do you talk to that use AI?
All of them.
And you and I do too. I mean,
Yes, every day.
yeah. And you and I are very careful about it, though, right? Because Dan warns us about hallucinations and you can have it quote sources, but it's going to cherry pick data from the sources, and you have to be very, very careful. I was at Manchester Community College yesterday on a tour in the computer science department, and the head of the department says, "We have our AI, but it won't hallucinate." We've made it so it only uses the data we give it, so it won't hallucinate. I didn't challenge him because I'm not a computer scientist, but I'm going, unless it's contained inside firewalls, it can go out and get information even though you didn't feed it that information. So, and he didn't talk about firewalls, which maybe he just thought I was too stupid to listen about firewalls, which he's probably right. The whole point is we got this great big powerful thing that everybody's worried about and wondering about and in awe about. But what we haven't found yet, despite the fact that we both know lots of companies are using it, is that there's enough demand to justify all the investment that's going on.
Mm.
Uh, it's it's one of those things where the capability can be there, and there's going to be a whole lot of people going, "Whoa, I don't need all that yet," because the companies they're using it for a function, right?
Yeah.
They're not using it to run the business, and they're not
No.
using it to power new thinking or marketing or things like that. I mean, the creative juices are limited in AI. As a matter of fact, AI produced art doesn't produce much money, is probably a good example of it. It has a capability that most people go, I really like it better when a human does it because it
Mm.
means something when a human does it. All of which is to say, people need to be careful because history has examples um, of this in the past. Railroads are a good example. Railroad lines were all over the country. People didn't need all those railroad lines all over the country, so there was a major setback in the railroad industry.
Mm.
You know, and there in 1920s there was a major expansion of the electric grid. Now, to you and I, that sounds good because we need it again. But back then they spent a fortune at the time expanding the electric grid, and a lot of people went, no, thanks. I'm fine. And
Mm.
so there was a collapse.
Mm.
It's it's interesting how an idea can become so exciting, then it's built up just to watch people go, maybe, and use it in small doses instead of the big doses. It's just so be careful is the message there, and understand that AI has certainly its advantages and its uses, as you and I can both attest to. But it can also be fooling the market right now and have a significant backlash if the demand doesn't catch up to the investment. Um, it's it'll be interesting because a whole bunch of people my age, all of a sudden their portfolio, if it's heavily weighted to an S&P index, can find themselves in a lot of pain. And I can't give specific financial advice. That's like it's not illegal for me to give specific financial advice. I'm just going to let it go there. Be careful. Talk to your investment advisor. Talk to Clark Allen. Just be careful. Is as far as I can go. Now let's talk about the jobs because I found that to be interesting. These numbers come from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Okay, so the BLS. These are government official statistics. I got that information from a company called Statista, and they're a good company, and I like them, and they're a good source where I don't have to go digging into the BLS, and they have interesting subject matter that they present. But then I go to the BLS and check it myself. It's just the way that I am. So the jobs that the BLS are going to projected to lose, the top 10, they think there's going to be a loss of over 1 million jobs. And that sounds like a lot. But right now, full employment, I mean, employment in this country, and let's not count government. If I remember right, not counting government, there's like 120 million people working in this country. So 1 million is 1%. So it's not so much a crisis as it is a real problem for people. Because I want to read you the list of jobs that won't be needed anymore, okay? Because I have not memorized it.
And that's from AI, the
This
impact
is
from AI.
Yeah, impact from AI. That's right. The cashiers in the next 10 years will be down 313,600 people, according to the BLS, which makes sense. You go to Walmart, there's auto checkout, or any store, there's auto checkout. And in most cases, it's easy, fast, so why not?
And at the
So,
airports too.
yeah, yeah, that's right. So we can say to ourselves, okay, that makes sense. And it's not it's a really big number, 313,600, but not when you have 120 million people working. But think of the 313,000, that's all they know how to do.
Right.
So there is a huge social impact that needs to be thought through with these numbers, is all that I'm trying to do. Let me go through the others, then I want to talk about the cure for this. Uh, General office clerks. I didn't know there were any anymore. 177,800. Customer service representatives. Sorry, Ann. 153,700. Although I have to say, I detest AI that's doing customer service. It's just,
I do too. It drives me nuts.
they're awful, aren't they? It's just, come
Give
on.
me a human.
Bookkeep. Yes, yes. And I do try that all the time. Representative,
Zero, zero, zero.
That's right. Oh, the next one makes a lot of sense. And this is a higher paying job because cashiers is not a high paying job. General office clerks isn't either. Um, CSRs, I don't know. Bookkeeping, accounting, and auditing clerks is the fourth largest job hit because of AI. And those are pretty good paying jobs. So all of a sudden, people who have a bachelor's degree, or at the very least an associate's, but mostly bachelors, have been in a career, could find themselves 35 years old, 40 years old, going, now what do I do?
Mm,
That's a pretty important social aspect to all of this. And being an economist, I don't usually have a heart, but I've been thinking about the people part of this. Fast food cooks, they'll need less of. This isn't necessarily AI, but maybe there'll be more AI involved. First line supervisors of retail sales workers, because there'll be less retail sales.
right.
Shipping, receiving, and inventory clerks, probably because there'll be more AI involved in that process and more automation. This isn't just AI, it's automation. So it'll be like going how the automation picks, and I've seen some of it. It's absolutely amazing, and accurate, and it's fun to watch. People on the side aren't having so much fun. And tellers. Now, has this happened in the past before? Yes. Back in industrial England, and I thought you'd like this one, and we may not be able to say it, but human alarm clocks in industrial England were people who had big long sticks and they banged on the door of people to get them up in the morning so they could go to work because there's no alarm clocks back then. So they'd have their big sticks, they'd bang on the door, then next one bang on the door for people that had hired them to do that. Now, their name is not something that would normally come out of my mouth, but just struck me as really, really funny. They were known as knocker uppers. So they're so
Classic.
you market that, Kim, and see how that goes, okay?
Okay. I'll see what spin I can put on it.
Yeah,
Slogans and taglines coming right up.
that's right. But in my life, switchboard operators were necessary,
Mm,
and now they hardly exist. They're replaced with switch gear and then past switch gear with higher tech computers and other things. It's just uh, steno pools, typing pools, stenographers, fire department horses was a big thing because all cities had to get the horses, take care of the horses, train the horses, and maintain the horses. So there was lots of people employed. Then fire trucks rolled out, and they went, "Oh no, what am I going to do?" And those jobs are all gone. So now we have to ask ourselves, where'd they go? What do you think?
yep.
Where'd they go?
Other jobs.
Right.
Probably maybe back to school, get other degrees, other
That's,
jobs.
that's exactly it. Those that can will go back to, I would suggest, without hesitation, a community college where you can get a very affordable trade skill, something that is in demand, and be guaranteed a job on the other side. And so if you are doing this, that's one on this list, and you're going to lose it, maybe you want to become an HVAC tech. Maybe you want to become a welder. But at the welding department at the school, everyone is guaranteed a job because not by the school, but because there's such demand. People are coming to school going, we'll hire them, we'll hire them. Give us as many as you can, we'll hire them. And these are good paying jobs. So the key is people who are willing to get trained to do something else.
Yeah.
Um, and fortunately, there are something else's, the jobs that'll be created. Now, the first one is not because of AI, it's because of demographics. I have to say that. But the job that'll be created the most over the next 10 years and you'll be glad to hear this, is home and healthcare personal care aides.
Mm.
That means you won't be taking care of me. You'll hire somebody to take care of me.
I was actually just looking at franchises yesterday in that space.
It's a good investment.
There's a lot of them out there. I was surprised.
And they're expecting to need 739,800 more people in that
Wow.
space. I know. And so this is not going to be come across as nice as I wanted to. That's not a highly skilled job. That's not like being an auditor. Uh, but a lot of the jobs we mentioned that are going away, that's a good job. It doesn't pay a lot. I looked at it, and the average is $62,000 a year, but and with no experience, it starts at 17 to $30 an hour. Um, but if you're a cashier, if you're working at McDonald's, and they no longer need you there, I mean, it's like, well, that's okay. I just gotta go be nice to Alan for, half a day. I can do that. I can put up with him. So it's an example how there are other jobs that with no experience needed, just a little training. After that, software developers. So that is a highly skilled position. I expected to find that AI would do away with software developers, but I've talked to people in the field. They go, no, we can't do what we do, and the BLS agrees. So somebody who has what's the right wording? A higher drive, a higher academic ability, somebody who has that keen mind and can switch gears. There are other high-paying jobs available. You just have to abandon what you were doing. So, Kim, if you were facing where AI could do your job, okay, you have a master's degree, at least one. Do you have two?
One.
Right, okay. International, and you're as experienced as they get, you're as educated as they get from one of the top universities in the country, and all of a sudden marketing is gone the way you know it because of AI. What would you do?
I would identify my uniques of my skill set and align them with other still growing pockets in the economy. And then I would position myself in those circles and network and get myself integrated into the new pocket of growth.
There you go. I had another plan for you. You start a company that says, I'll find you a job. And you'll ask all these people to do that. And employment agencies is obviously what it is, but you're well connected, you have lots of experience. But all of a sudden, they have a line of people going, I need a job. Here's my skill set. And you look, and that person, instead of today's employment agency, says, all right, let's get you this training, let's walk you through the process, and we'll get you to where you need to be. So businesses will pop up to help people through that transition, and more jobs are created in the process. The resiliency of the workforce is amazing.
Hmm.
And stock order and fillers will be needed. Fast food counter workers, it says, will be needed. That's just because of demographics, not because AI is going to be demanding that. AI is going to take that number away, as a matter of fact, to a large extent. Registered nurses is extremely high, and medical and health services managers. As a matter of fact, when you look at healthcare, the first one and the other two, it's the biggest source of jobs in the
Yeah.
future. So anybody that has an inclination to become an MA, LNA, RNA, or licensed practice, what's the one that Michelle is mentor, but there's accreditations and skills above that. Has nothing to worry about from AI, and which is good. All kinds of jobs going into the future. That's the bottom line in all this. How would I sum it up if I was AI?
One of the thoughts that I have when you are asking me that question about what would I do, it just shifts from marketing businesses to helping people market themselves. And that was my explanation for like what I would shift my focus from how I'm helping businesses market, and I would just apply my knowledge and skill set to marketing myself in just a new market. So what is my new go-to market strategy? And that's all people really need is a new go-to-market strategy. They're penetrating a new market and come up with that plan to penetrate that new market space for them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly so. And uh, you have the skills to do that. And people with less skills, for whatever reason, we're not all made equally. There are lots of jobs still that will be around that will pay people. And the nice thing is, this is the beauty of it, maybe a good summation point. This baby boomer and a lot of others like me are leaving the job market, creating all kinds of openings. So that's in all levels of jobs. So as we're leaving, there won't be enough people to fill all the jobs, even in a slowly growing economy. So nobody really needs to worry about, will I have a job? What they need to worry about is, do I have what it takes to stop doing what I'm doing to get another job?
Yeah.
Because the opportunities will be out there. It could be driving for Lyft. It could be, any number of the home healthcare is just a wonderful thing. And after that, I get a job at a funeral home. They'll be busy for the next decade. The hours are terrible, but Halloween's fun. I mean, it's
Oh my gosh. So creepy.
it is, but it comes back to the human being. So we started with AI and the risk to humans, and now we're back to, it's about the human being. What am I going to do about the condition I'm in? Because people in the past could have said, darn that electricity, it ruined my candle making business.
Mm.
You know, darn the fire engine, it ruined my business. But truly, the wonderful thing is that humans can adapt, and with a little fire, a little motivation, a little push, can go off and do even more things and perhaps better things than they ever imagined. It's
Better tools in our toolbox. And that's how I look at AI, is that it's a tool in my toolbox. It's not here to replace me. It's here for me to use and make things more efficient, more effective, and ultimately, therefore, able to help more people. What once took me 3 hours to do may now take me 30 minutes to do, which means I can help more people because I have a better tool in my toolbox.
right, exactly so. And I was meeting with a couple of people yesterday and about the use of AI. One really likes it and uses it. One doesn't like it at all. So it was an interesting discussion.
That would be a
And
fun discussion.
yeah, one said, I don't need AI. And I thought to myself, and I didn't insert myself much, it was just more fun to watch them, was that then maybe you're not looking at AI, what it can do for you to free up your time so that you have time for other things. Um, yes, you do your job. You don't need AI uh, to do your job necessarily, but if it can do a routine thing so that you can do this exceptional thing, aren't you missing the boat here? You know, so anyway, it was kind of fun. My whole point here is don't fear it. Don't fear it. It's not the Reaper, but be aware that it will create opportunities, and in creating opportunities, it will create some pain and uncertainty. But at the end of the day, technological changes create more wealth through history. They create more opportunities through history. They create more education through history. And I expect that this will be the same. This is not the end of humankind. This is just the next step in a furthering of our increasing wealth as a planet.
No, I like that. And I think a summary from my perspective is it sounds very similar to the same story that we've been talking about from a business perspective, just now at the more personal level. So, from a business perspective, we know that there's a coming economic downturn that's going to be hard, and we're encouraging people to look for those pockets of opportunity. In this particular conversation, we're saying AI is changing some of the job industry and identifying those pockets of opportunity now so that way you can capitalize on them for your personal well-being. So again, to your point at the beginning of our call, this is that longer term strategy and making sure that everybody's taking the time to work on the business and work on themselves to maximize coming future opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not a dark thing. It's just a new scary thing. Perfect for this month. That's right.
Well, I appreciate you doing all this research and bringing it onto our show, and hopefully everybody listening in was able to take some of this information, share it. I know I took down some mental notes of things of people that I know in bookkeeping or other spaces that I'm going to let them know these stats are out there and just sharing the information because knowledge is power, and then we can make a plan and turn a plan into action.
That's right. And you're going to start a franchise business of some kind, helping people get new jobs. It'll be wonderful.
My next new coaching business.
That's right. Only if
B2B
AI,
jobs.
yeah, only if AI decides, you're not needed for marketing. But you and I both know that's not cannot be certainly not where AI is today. There have to be multiple iterations before it could have anything close to the creative insight. It can have experience, but creative insight is something else. So I think you're fine. Now,
Thank
economists, on the other hand,
you. Dun, dun, dun. Next episode.
that's right. All right. I hope you have a good week.
Thank you. You too. It's nice to see you. We'll see you,
You too.
everybody, next week. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. Please remember to like and subscribe, leave us any comments, and we will get back to you. Thanks for joining us.